Alex Griffin, I covered this dude a while ago. He did the religion video. He's kind of closer to No Villains Are Safe. Kind of recaps episodes and just says like the most shallow stuff like, yep, that's what the joke is or whatever. Like that's basically Alex Griffin. I think the reason that I'm drawn to this Family Guy Hates America is because what Alex Griffin does that I think is kind of unique about him is that he will have video topics that could be really interesting discussions, like how Family Guy discusses religion was the other one, and this one is about more like, I guess America. And he'll just kind of like repeat jokes and not have any actual commentary. So I like to examine how a good video like this could have existed. I'm a little bit clowning. This is clearly a flop of his. It only got 8.9K views. Even his next one got 58K. He has really been failing lately. Like all AI channels, they're all failing. Like, look, he had a couple that were like millions of views. Like he's on million view videos and now he's just barely scratching like 10K, 36K is like a high point. So like Family Guy Hates America, it didn't do very well. And I acknowledge that like, I'm not really criticizing this video from a like, ooh, like how did people watch this? Cause like no one watched this video. No one actually watched this video, but I still think it'll be a fun one to go over. So let's just get right into it. I also think it's odd that Peter is wearing the MAGA hat. Like, isn't that odd that he's wearing it? Because Peter represents like Family Guy itself. So like, and Family Guy, I whenever I talk about Family Guy, I always get people who are like, oh, Family Guy just keeps like making jokes about Republicans, which is clearly just means that they're a Republican who's like offended that they're being called out for their heinous beliefs in a television show. So like, I don't have any problem with Family Guy making jokes about Republicans. In fact, you should make jokes about Republicans and point out how awful they are in joke form. I think that that's fine. But it's weird that Peter's wearing the MAGA hat because usually Family Guy is like anti-MAGA. They're not always like some like bastion of wokeness. The Rush Limbaugh episode that I think was way too charitable to that absolutely evil man. Sometimes they'll make like jokes about like, they're not like they definitely been transphobic. They're being like less transphobic recently, but they had like one joke in a recent episode where like Chris said something about like how like Lois like had like her like swimming records in high school, like beaten by like trans athletes or whatever, which is like misinformation. It's like not true. But when you say it in joke form, people will think it's true. Someone stupid, which is most right wingers, if they watch that, they'll be like, oh, like, they're smashing records when like the data does not support that. It's a whole thing. If you disagree with that, don't bother commenting. I'm going to just delete your comment. I don't really need you lying in my comment section. So let's just go into this. Family Guy Hates America.
According to this map, you're not even part of the United States, which would make you a communist. We're a party state. We're the party's country, and that makes us our own.
Starts off with 13 seconds of footage from the Ptoria episode. Cool.
Country.
What are you talking about?
Thanks to a technicality, we have the right to secede from the U.S. From
Dude, this is 20 seconds. They're just playing the episode.
this day forth, this territory will be known as Ptoria.
Peter Griffin found out his house wasn't on the map and somehow landed on the dumbest possible solution. He put
criticizing the character for being a character.
And the insane part is, it worked. The mayor didn't stop him. The cops didn't stop him.
The weird part is, it worked, yes, because it's a cartoon and was taking a funny cartoon premise of what if a character's house was a country. That's the premise of the episode. The funny thing, yeah, this would not work in real life, guys. It would not work in real life. This has never happened, actually, where someone's house is technically not in America and they declare it their own country. It is the premise of a cartoon episode, yes. And it's used to tell a meaningful story because Peter, this is an early season episode where Family Guy was still told decent. I mean, new Family Guy could tell good stories too. It's not every episode is trash and the whole thing. But, on average, Family Guy was a little better back then when it comes to telling actual stories. And it was about Peter being arrogant and the power going to his head and all this sort of stuff. Like there were actual themes in the episode. And that was the reason that it turned into his own country.
Federal government showed up with tanks because Peter Griffin said,
it's a cartoon, dude. I get mad at people who are like, it's a cartoon. This is a time where that is valid. Someone saying the federal government showed up with tanks because Peter said his house was a country. Yeah, it's a cartoon. Like that is what happens in cartoons. Defend that in a real way. It is the cartoon tells its story. It uses this crazy situation of the government showing up with tanks to a guy's house because he says his house is a country to tell a story about that character, to say that Peter is an arrogant person and he learns to be less arrogant and he learns to be more humble because of this experience, because of this exaggerated experience. That's how cartoons work. So criticizing that, I don't know if it's even, is it even criticizing that or is it criticizing the character? I don't even know what it's doing. But like, let's say it's criticizing that. It's like, that's what cartoons do, you know?
I'm a country now. And America basically went, yeah, that sounds official. That's the joke. But it's also what this...
That's the take.
Family Guy's America is fake, broke, bought, scared, and dangerously easy to fool. And once you notice that, the show starts looking a lot meaner.
Okay, so it actually has a thesis. So it's saying that the portrayal of America in Family Guy is a kind of America that you can like easily manipulate, like how Peter did in the Ptoria episode. I am actually kind of surprised that it has even that thesis. Let's see if it does something with it.
America is way easier to scam than it wants to admit, and Ptoria isn't even where that joke stops.
Okay, so it's saying that America in the world of Family Guy is easy to scam, which obviously is like a commentary. Like it even said like it's like bought, like it's referring to, well, I don't know why it shows the episode where they won the lottery. That doesn't really have anything to do with America, but like, I guess what it's kind of saying. Okay, so like this, no, that's Ptoria. I'll take an example. There's one episode where it was during like the Bush era, and there was a cutaway where Peter was like in like Congress or something, and Peter goes, "Yeah, well, you know, anyone who doesn't want to go to war is gay." And all of the congressmen are like, "We got to go to war. I always wanted to go to war." And the joke is that like they're so easily manipulated by like this like macho stuff that they will get the country into wars. Pretty simple social commentary. And I 100% agree. Like the statement that, I mean, they don't literally get into wars because of that, but that is essentially what it's trying to say, is that these men who start wars start them for such petty reasons. They might as well be starting wars just to prove that they aren't gay. And it's also a joke on how most Republican politicians are secretly gay. You know, both things that are factually true. So like that joke is kind of what it's referring to here, is that like it's painting America as like a place that you can easily scam and manipulate using like silly loopholes, is what the thesis of this is. So let's see how it goes and discusses that. Let's see if it has anything interesting to say about that.
Because once Peter realizes nobody's checking, he immediately begins colonizing Joe's pool.
Good morning, Joe. Peter, what are you doing in my pool? Oh, this is the newest province of Ptoria.
Wait, is this just a Ptoria recap? No, it's not. There's other episodes. Okay, I was like, is this going to be a recap of the Ptoria episode? He's saying that Peter colonizes Joe's pool because America's easy to manipulate, but that's not actually true in the episode. That's the reason that America attacks Peter. So let's see if it says something about that.
Well, according to paragraph 7, sentence 3, word 8 of the Geneva Convention, so tough luck, Swanson.
Joe is literally a cop. Joe is the law on Spooner Street, and Joe just sits there while his own pool gets annexed because Peter said Geneva Convention out loud with enough confidence. That's all it took.
That's not all. Wait, that's not all it took. He broke into his house and he wouldn't leave. Wait, what is Joe supposed? He says that Joe's not on duty. You're saying that Joe should have... Joe reports him, right? That's why the government... What are you talking about? Joe makes this happen with the government coming up. Joe went through the process to remove Peter from his pool. So I don't know why it's saying that Joe didn't do enough. And that means that like America is portrayed as dumb in Family Guy. It's just not. Joe is not the law. That's not how the police work. Yeah, Joe wasn't on duty. Him being a cop doesn't have anything to do with that. Joe was just a regular citizen in that scene.
No one fact checks Peter Griffin.
They did fact check Peter Griffin. Within the universe of the show, Peter's house was not in America, so he declared it his own country. That did happen. So they did fact check him. This AI channel just doesn't know what happened in the episode.
We're about to commence Operation Bomb the Crap Out of Your House. The guy who thinks up the names is on vacation. Fire!
They just show up with tanks as their first response. The US military rolls up to bomb a duplex because a dumb guy sat in his neighbor's pool. And the operation is simple.
That's not what are you talking about? This is so wrong. Dude, watch the episode. They go to his house they go to bomb his house because his house is a different country, by the logic of the show. Like, you have to follow the logic that the show is making. It's not he went and sat in his neighbor's pool. The point is that he invaded Joe's pool, and that's the joke, is that he just invaded his neighbor's pool, but he invaded America, basically. So they responded the way that you would if someone invaded America. That's the joke here. Like, are you actually missing the point of that? Like, what?
Lauren Conrad, yes, LC, somehow gives the cleanest diagnosis of America's relationship with intelligence.
This doesn't make any sense. If you're so smart, why do you hide it?
Come on, Brian. You know America doesn't like smart people. They elected Bush twice.
Yeah, once, but this whole
So that joke is not about American policy. That joke is about American culture. The thing that Lauren Conrad said, not the thing that Brian said, which is about, that's a reference to the whole, Florida Supreme Court, like something with like Al Gore should have won in 2000, something like that. That's the joke that Brian is saying. That's why he says once. I'm pretty sure that's why he says once. If that joke means something else, I'm not sure, but that's not the joke I'm really commenting on. That's about American culture, not American policy. I mean, I guess that still could be hates America. Like, you think that American culture promotes people being dumb instead of smart. Okay, so here's what Alex Griffin is saying. Alex Griffin is saying that Family Guy hates America because Brian is dating the celebrity, and the celebrity, I don't know who the celebrity is. I don't really know who Lauren Conrad is other than the episode, but like, apparently she is known for being like dumb in pop culture, but in the episode she's actually really smart. And she says that the reason that she acts dumb is because America hates smart people. So Alex Griffin is arguing that by saying that this celebrity would act like she's dumb in order to pander to America is saying that that Family Guy, the show, hates America because Family Guy is unfairly saying that America panders to dumb people. You now have to prove the contrary then. Family Guy made the claim of that. I mean, I guess you could say the burden of proof is on Family Guy. Like, maybe Family Guy needs to provide more evidence of that. I don't know. I don't know if they're under obligation to provide specific evidence for it, but I just feel like if you're going to refute that, you need to be like, well, actually, American culture does value intelligence. Like, I mean, I know it doesn't. Like, look at media illiteracy out there. Like, I'm not really going to sit here and be on Alex Griffin's side. I actually think that she's more correct, and the statement that Family Guy is making in this scene is more correct in talking about that social problem. But you have to actually provide more of a counter argument than just saying she said it. That means that Family Guy hates America. Let's see if there actually is a counter argument.
America doesn't like smart people. Family Guy took a Brian romance plot, handed the smartest line to a reality TV star, and used her to call the whole country dumb in 8 seconds. Okay, so America...
I don't think she called the whole country dumb. I think she said that on average, Americans value dumb people, which I think is like objectively true. Well, I mean, I guess dumb is subjective, but I think if you like ran the numbers of like the popularity of like things like reality TV, provided you're going on those standards, I think you're kind of arguing from a losing position there.
They're all idiots in Washington. Instead of a smart guy, we should send a moron they can relate to.
Harvard lawyers, lobbyists, a wisecracking leprechaun.
Harvard lawyers lobby. This is the Family Guy Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh was not a lobbyist. Rush Limbaugh was a pundit. So I don't know why you're using him as the image. It's weird.
None of it works. So the move is find a moron Congress can relate to. Honestly, this episode is just too accurate. And in case that felt too subtle...
Wait, this episode is too accurate. You said Family Guy hates America. Are you on their side or not? Your title is called Family Guy Hates America. So you're just like, you're all over the place. Are you trying to talk in favor, against? Like, what is it? This episode is just too accurate. So you do think that the politicians are idiots. So why are you saying that Family Guy hates America? Wait, wouldn't that mean that you love America? If you point out that the politicians in your country are idiots, that means that you love America because you say our politicians are idiots. I want them to not be idiots. Right? Like, I think hating America would be that you're happy that the politicians are idiots because then they will screw up the country and make America worse. And if you hate America, that's what you want.
The episode T. Peter just says the quiet part out loud. Peter joins the Tea Party.
Dude, he said that so many times in the other video, right? Alex Griffin just says the quiet part out loud. Was that Alex Griffin? Who kept saying says the quiet part out loud? It's a very common AI thing. Is he like no villains are safe or Scribble? He's kind of no villains are safe. He's like lower budget, no villains are safe, Alex Griffin. And he only does Family Guy. I'd say that that's the closest. But Alex Griffin also goes into some spicier territories, like with the America stuff and the religion stuff.
Gets a trichome hat, marches in a rally led by a salt-of-the-earth American named Joe Workingman.
I like how it just said...
Marches in a rally led by a salt-of-the-earth American named Joe Workingman.
Led by salt-of-the-earth American named Joe Workingman. Do you know who Joe Workingman is in the episode? It's Carter Pewterschmidt in a poor disguise. Joe Workingman is not a real person. And Alex Griffin is describing it as if Joe Working, like if I was gonna talk about this episode, if I was gonna comment on this episode and I brought up the Joe Workingman character, I'd be like, yeah, Joe Workingman, it's Carter in a disguise, which represents how rich people will act like they have the interests of the working man at heart. But you just say with a guy named Joe Workingman and you leave out that context. Holy AI. The AI just thinks that Joe Workingman is its own character. The AI doesn't even know that it's also Carter Pewterschmidt. Unless it's specifically talking about it. Like if it's talking about the scene, if you get AI to talk about the scene where Joe Workingman is revealed as Carter Pewterschmidt, then I mean, it's obvious to the audience, but it gets revealed to Peter later on because Peter's too dumb to notice. If you talk about the scene where Peter finds out that it's Carter Pewterschmidt, then the AI would understand. But if the AI would just look at it and go, that's Joe Workingman because he says he's Joe Workingman, and that's what it's doing here. That's the mistake it's making here.
Tea Party isn't the grassroots movement you think it is. It's actually funded by big business types who are using you to get the government out of their way so they can roll over everyone.
The Tea Party isn't grassroots. It's funded by big business types using working class guys to do their lobbying for them. Brian,
you just repeated what Brian said. No commentary yourself.
Doesn't even dress it up. He just says it at the kitchen table. And the show isn't just making fun of one.
He doesn't even dress it up. He just says that, yeah, it's a political episode. And that is real. That was a real problem back then. Tea Party's not really a thing anymore. This was probably 2010-ish, 2012. Tea Party is basically what kind of turned into MAGA. It's kind of an oversimplification, but it's a little like that. So Brian is just kind of stating what that was back then. That it's it tries to be this freedom for the working man, but it is funded by oligarchs and stuff like that. The episode not allowed to just say what the thing it's describing is. Not every moment has to be a joke, especially if it's a political episode. That the point of it is to point out a political issue to a mass audience. That's the point of that episode. And there are ways that it doesn't do it perfectly. There are. I could probably criticize that episode for how it did it. But that part with Brian is pretty spot on. It's pretty exact. It's exactly pointing out the hypocrisy in a way that an average person might not have understood. So I don't really get what you mean by saying he just says it at the kitchen table unprompted or whatever.
It's making fun of how easy it is to rebrand corporate money as regular people being mad. Then Brian walks in and...
Why is that Family Guy hating America? Again, you have to like America to want to point that out because it means you want to make America better.
Reveals who Joe Workingman really is.
Oh, of course.
See, reveals who Joe Workingman really is. See, it gets it now, but then it just says Joe Workingman. You know that Joe Workingman is Carter the first time you see him because he looks like Carter in a bad disguise. You're just you get a human would get the joke immediately. As soon as Carter appears and he says, I'm Joe Workingman, and he's wearing the hard hat and he's clearly Carter, you get the joke. And AI doesn't. That's a reveal. He learns who Joe Workingman is.
He wants to get rid of environmental regulations for you. Brian, he doesn't get sarcasm.
No, it's not just environmental regulations, Brian. Carter wants to get rid of the whole city government of Quahog.
Carter Pewterschmidt, billionaire, owns the oil refineries. Wants the government gone because the government is the only thing regulating him. So,
dude, it just said that in the scene.
Carter basically bought a protest and wore it like work clothes. If that's not America, I don't know what is. So,
wait, so you are agreeing? Okay, well, I was assuming that Alex Griffin was saying that it was too critical of America. If that's not America, I don't know what is. But that's not a take, by the way. That's not a you're just repeating what happened in the episode with no further commentary. You would need to actually examine, what I said, what I just said about why Brian said what he said and how that was to make the issue clear to the average viewer. That's actual commentary. Just saying what happens in the episode and going, if that's not America, I don't know what is. That's a nothing statement. But I guess, okay, so like we've established that he's not against the show itself, even though it kind of seemed like he was when he said that the Lauren Conrad joke was saying that Americans are all dumb.
Peter, this is idiotic. Your odds of winning are like 100 million to 1. Don't you know the lottery is just a tax on stupid people?
200,000 lottery tickets. It cost him $200,000. Brian tells him in plain English,
This episode isn't really about America. There's an issue with talking about this episode, this lottery episode, and the Tea Party episode. The Tea Party episode is specifically a political episode. Like Family Guy has a pretty, like, I know all art is political, you know, that whole thing. When people hear me say all art is political, they think that I'm saying that everything is like this Family Guy episode that is explicitly about a topical political issue. And that's not what I mean when I say all art is political. I mean all art is political in that making a statement about anything leads to some kind of political belief in some way. It's kind of a simple way of saying it, but that's kind of generally what I mean. But there is a difference between this episode and the lottery episode. The lottery episode is more of a personal story. It's about how Peter and the family change as people when they become rich from winning the lottery. That is what that episode is about. Whereas Peter is still about Peter. Peter is still the protagonist of the episode. He learns that he's wrong, and he goes through a character arc, but he goes through a character arc of learning that he's wrong about a specific political issue. It's making a statement about that you shouldn't support the Tea Party. Could you maybe explain what the Tea Party was for who are either too young, too non-American, or both? I mean, I was pretty young when the Tea Party was a thing. I was like, this was like around like 2012. So I was like 14. I'm pretty young myself. The first election I voted in was 2016. But when I was like 14, 15, I would watch Stephen Colbert. So I kind of heard a little bit of that Tea Party. They were basically like, I feel like I'd get it wrong if I specifically talked about what the Tea Party is. They were very like libertarian, and they kind of just like turned into MAGA, basically, the Tea Party. That's oversimplifying it. There's more to that. It's not important. It's just that the episode was about a political position, and it was saying that it basically was saying that you should not hold the Tea Party's political position because you would have negative consequences. And it conveyed that perspective through having Peter join the Tea Party and all these negative consequences happen. That's basically what it is. It used it in a way where it really leaned into the whole Tea Party having no government. Like what happens is they literally get rid of the government. That wasn't exactly what the Tea Party did, but it was a lot with like no regulations. Like no regulations was a big part of it, you know? Like how right now, like Doge cuts, like it's kind of a precursor to that was the Tea Party. They're like, oh, we don't want like the government like meddling in our stuff or whatever. And then it's like, or cutting out like government waste, like that lie. That's kind of in that same vein. And it just leads to like negative consequences. And basically the Family Guy episode over exaggerated it to make it just say like, what if they got rid of the whole government and then there was all of these problems? And that was the episode. And that was explicitly a political episode. It was saying this is what would happen politically. Whereas Lottery Fever is not exactly a commentary on the lottery. The one line from Brian says the lottery is just a tax on people who don't know how large numbers work. That is political commentary, but it's political commentary in one line. The lesson of the episode is not what Brian said. They just took an opportunity to make a quick political statement based on the subject of their episode. Whereas the lesson of the episode is just don't let money go to your head is the actual lesson of the episode, which is still political, but not an explicitly political. It's more of a personal story rather than a political story.
$150 million, and then it's gone in a month. The dream actually came true. They won the impossible amount of money, and they were still broke again in a month. That is such a mean joke. Family Guy gave...
That's not really a mean joke at all. What do you mean that's a mean joke? That literally happens. Wait, people who win the lottery blow all the money all the time. That's an actual thing, because people who immediately get like $100 million from the lottery, because they didn't gain that money incrementally, they just spend it all on like, you know, like, I mean, a lot of, most people who lose all of their money from the lottery is because of gambling. That's the really common reason. Drugs sometimes, but it's generally like people who lose all of their money after they become a lottery winner it's gambling. Gambling will just like destroy your bank account. So if you suddenly have $100 million, you could just burn through it faster than any other way, just gambling. Like there isn't any other sort of thing that you can buy that would burn through your money faster. You could buy like you could buy every video game you want, every like collectible figurine, a couple like nice cars. You could buy all that sort of stuff, but it will not burn through your money faster than gambling would. The Family Guy episode didn't really go with that. It was just more Peter buying a bunch of useless garbage because that's funnier. Seeing Peter become a gambling addict, then it's an episode about something else. But it's not really a mean joke. It's just a commentary on how people can blow their money if they come into it really fast. It's not really a mean joke. And it has nothing to do with America. It's more about like there are people in Europe who win their respective lotteries and they blow all the money. It doesn't have anything to do with America.
Family Guy gave Peter the American dream just to prove he couldn't survive it. And
no, wait, what? The American dream is not winning $150 million in the lottery. That is not what the American dream is. The American dream is that anyone, if you work hard enough, can live a comfortable, happy life. That's the American dream. Is that most places in the world, including America for a lot of people, so it's not actually true. That's why it's called the American dream, because you got to be asleep to believe it. But the concept of the American dream, which is a phrase that you shouldn't just throw around if you don't know what it means, is that if you are a person, no matter where you were born, no matter who you are, if you work hard and do the right things and are responsible, then you will live a good life. There won't be things that will make you live a bad life, because for thousands of years, people were born peasants and died peasants. And no matter how hard they worked, there's no way out of that. The American dream is meant to circumvent that. It's not true. It doesn't exist in this country or any country. There are people who are just born and they have no chance. Like that just happens. But that's the actual criticism of the American dream, is that the American dream purports that could happen, and there are people that it just factually could not happen for. Winning the lottery is not that. That's just one guy being irresponsible with his money.
So I can tell you how reverse mortgage from Hey Alright Reverse Mortgages or Harm can help you.
This seems like a trick.
I know this seems like a trick, but it's not a trick.
this one barely feels like an exaggeration. Tom Selleck has been one of the faces of reverse mortgage ads for years.
But like Family Guy hates America. Again, like I'm a little bit of a broken record here, but pointing out that things like reverse mortgages prey on people, that's not hating America. That's saying you want America to be better. So you're framing this in the wrong way. So here's the flaws with this video. The flaw with this video is not saying that like the jokes are incorrect. Like he was kind of doing that at the beginning. He was saying like, oh yeah, the US government is so stupid. They're saying that they're so stupid that they're going to surround his house with tanks. Like that was what I thought was the video, but it's not that. So it is agreeing with the jokes. It is saying that this is social commentary that is important. But the two problems with this video is, one, it's not going into why the social commentary is important. It's not explaining it properly to a mass audience. It's just repeating the Family Guy moments and not providing any additional commentary or examination of how those political lessons work in a story. And two, it's called Family Guy Hates America. It's framing it like criticizing these things is hating America, which is the opposite. This is like kind of like the problem where like I think it's really annoying that like we let Republicans get away with like acting like they're the ones who like America, because they don't. They hate America because they want it to be bad. Like they don't like America. Like ask a Republican what they like about America. They don't like anything about America. You ask like a liberal or even like a leftist, like, what do you like? Like if you ask like me, like, what do you like about America? I would be like, beyond its flaws, there is a level of freedom that is given by the Constitution for there to be some kind of social mobility that hasn't existed historically and does not exist in some parts of the world. There is an ability for certain people who would usually be treated unfairly to try and find their way in the world and have some kind of opportunity. And the parts of this country that I criticize are the parts that don't do that well enough. One of the most insulting things is like, if there's one thing that a conservative should not be allowed to use in any of their like America imagery. I saw this a lot with like America 250, like 250th anniversary. I walked by a Republican PAC and they had an AI generated America 250 poster in their window. And it had the Statue of Liberty on it. And it's like, you're really going to have the audacity to have the symbol of immigration as the Republican PAC? Like, you people do not like this country. Like, you just don't. You don't want it to be better. You don't. And like, why do we let them get away with it? Like, why don't we just go like, you people hate this country? Criticizing this as hating America is, I think, very unproductive. Obviously, it's just doing it because it's a crappy AI channel that's trying to get people's attention. So it just like titles the video whatever to get clicks. Like, I get that. But that's also a problem with how like these sorts of attitudes persist, is this idea of like, yeah, people who criticize America hate America. No, people who criticize America like America and they want it to be better. That's why they criticize it. I mean, I guess like conservatives criticize America too. And that's why they say America great again, because they think that there's something wrong with it that they need to make, but they're just incorrect with what they say because they're conservatives and they're incorrect about everything.
Didn't even blow the house on something fun. He put his family's future inside of Mr. Potato Head. Okay.
Bro, it's a cartoon. Yeah. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want that episode to be? Yeah, he buys a new fuel efficient car instead, which is what someone would usually spend their money on. Like, it's just finding things to say just to say them. Like, when you have a video that's just find things to say them and your video is political, it's about real social issues, and you say things without saying them, people are going to watch this video. Well, not really this video. This video didn't get a lot of views, but let's say it did. You know, like, because this is common, like this kind of like bad takes or this or that, like this could be watched by people who take this stuff to heart and then they don't actually engage with the real issues at play here. It's like, sometimes even if Alex Griffin is on my side with a lot of these issues he's pointing out, he's not helping. You're not helping by making this video. Because you're not like, I'd rather you say nothing at all than say the wrong thing about the arguments for like these positions. Like, there is a point where it's almost better if you just keep your mouth shut. And I think that's the case, especially if you're going to use AI. If you want to do like political commentary, like, don't use AI. Like, just don't. Like, it's not going to help. You need to form your own actual arguments. I never understood the whole liberal, Republican, right-wing, left-wing stuff. Why is everything categorized? Because there are certain sets of beliefs that line up. For example, for me, like, I'm a progressive. So like, I am in favor of like LGBTQ plus rights. Like, if I'm in favor of that, that probably also means that I'm in favor of universal healthcare. You know, those things aren't entirely related. Like, there are people who believe one and not the other, but there is a very strong correlation between those two things. And there's a reason for that. And it's because believing in LGBTQ plus rights and believing in universal healthcare both require a certain amount of empathy. You have to be a certain kind of person who prioritizes the equality and goodness of all people, as opposed to like the preserving of certain power structures. So like, both not having universal healthcare and bigotry serve the same interest, which is keeping power structures alive. For the people in charge, it's obvious why that is, because they benefit from those power structures directly. People who are like, like the voters, the people who are just dumb, they believe that because they feel comfortable with those power structures. They think that those power structures are looking out for them. They're incorrect, but that's what they believe. And that's why they're conservatives. And that's why these two seemingly unrelated issues, being equal rights and universal healthcare, they seem like they're not related, but they actually are, because they're both about equality. So it basically just comes down to like people who are for like arbitrary power structures, which is conservatives, right wingers, and people who are for more equality, which is more like leftists. And then you have people who are a little more milquetoast. That's kind of where you get the like liberal and like neoconservative and all this sort of stuff. There's a bunch of like other things. Like, there are people who are probably relatively progressive on like certain social issues, but can also be like, you know, socially liberal, fiscally conservative. You probably heard this term before. You know, there's people like that. Like the world is kind of a rich tapestry of people with different perspectives, and like 90% of them are like dumb as rocks. So it's kind of hard to really like, well, not 90% of them are dumb as rocks. Some people are willingly lying and it's because they're evil, but a lot of them are they just don't get it, like, and that sort of stuff. Let's go. This is a little recap of his whole video so far.
So far, Family Guy's impression of America is pretty bleak. Fake authority works.
It's pretty bleak. Fake authority works. That's not what this episode is about. Completely false. There is no fake authority in the Ptoria episode. Peter is legally given the authority within the context of the episode.
The military shows up with tanks.
The military shows up with tanks. Again, this is completely makes sense within the logic of the show. It is a country engaging in protecting its like interests. So this is the U.S. military is supposed to be right in the. I mean, it makes jokes about them. It says like Operation Bomb the crap out of you. Obviously, it's critical of like military stuff in like its jokes, but the actual like moment, the reason the tanks show up is because Peter is being arrogant. And Peter needs to not be arrogant. That's the point of this. So, you're 0 for 2 here.
Smart people hide it. Rich
Smart people hide it. Yeah, this is about American culture, not about American policy.
people cash in, and regular people keep getting sold one magic fix after another. That's already a brutal roast. Real quick. If you like Family Guy breakdowns like this, hit subscribe. I've got more of these coming every week. Okay, so now the show starts.
He's got more of these coming every week. He's gonna stop soon. He's gonna give up. He's running out of steam.
Wait a minute, Germany's building weapons of mass destruction? Well, why doesn't America go in there and kick their asses? I don't know. Maybe because they don't have any oil? Oh, clap, 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 clap.
That's Family Guy taking one of the most loaded American war arguments imaginable and stuffing it into a time travel Nazi joke. Deadpan, straight to the camera. And
wait, what? Stuffing it into a time... What? It's just like you're just saying something to say nothing. It's making a state, because this was when did Road to Germany come out? There's a joke about the 2008 election in Road to Germany. So probably was around 2008 when it came out. So it was, yeah, again, it's similar to the other joke. Like Road to Germany isn't really about, Road to Germany doesn't really have as much of a character arc. I actually talked about this in my Road to video. That actually is kind of a problem with Road to Germany, but similar to the lottery episode, it's just taking it's taking an opportunity to make a political joke in an episode that is otherwise more not specifically like political. Like Road to Germany does not make like the episode Road to Germany is not about oil and wars. Like that's not what like the episode is not about that. It makes one statement about it, but I don't know what he's like nonchalantly saying here. Like that is like a statement. Is he saying that like they shouldn't make that argument because it's like it's Family Guy, it's supposed to be like silly and comedy? I guess that's maybe what it's saying. I don't know. It's so incoherent.
Straight to the camera. And even though Brian is the most smug character in the show, this just feels too real. After that, the patriot.
Oh, that was a criticism. That was so a criticism. This feels too real. So he is complaining about it. He's saying, "Oh, you know what this argument is? I hate this argument." It's like, yeah, like I just want to watch Family Guy to have fun. Like I don't want to like have like politics like spouted to me. You know, people said this to me in my It's About Mime video, where I did my video on It's About Mime, the SpongeBob episode. There was a recent SpongeBob episode. And while I was researching for the SpongeBob episode, there was a line in the episode that was like, never give a mime a dime. And I was like, did that episode make that up? Or is that like a common saying? So I looked it up. Turns out that it is not a common saying. It's like the SpongeBob episode made it up. But it gave me like a crappy AI overview. And it annoyed me that there was an AI overview. So I had like a little like mini rant in the video where I was like, hey, I got this like stupid AI overview that like got it wrong. And I said like something about like how like billionaires are evil or whatever, or like rich people are evil because they make AI and AI makes people stupid. Like I said something like that. And people like complained about it. They were like, like you just like go on this like rant about AI. Like why would you go on like a random rant? It's like, it's just so anti-intellectual, and it's like it speaks to there's a lot of reasons why people feel this way. So I'm not going to specifically say that it is one or the other, but there's a couple of different reasons. One of the reasons why someone would make this, and again, this is AI. So this is not a real person making a statement. This is AI scraping other people who feel this way and putting it in a video. So I am trying to deconstruct why other people felt this way and why the AI constructed it. So one of the reasons that people say, like Family Guy, I just want to like sit and laugh at Family Guy. Like I don't want to think about politics. One of the reasons for that is because they disagree with the statements that it makes. So like if you were mad at that joke that Brian makes, it could be because you are pro-war and you think that it's like not correct, but you don't have an actual argument because Brian is correct. So you resort to stuff like, it's like, I just like don't like to hear about politics. I just want to like have fun because you don't have a real argument to the contrary. Another reason why this would be is because you have a weird relationship with big points like politics gives a lot of people anxiety. A lot of people will like feel anxious about like the world and the state of the world. And sometimes when like a Family Guy episode that you think is just about something else says like a political statement, it can make you uncomfortable because you didn't want to think about that. You're trying to use it as an escape. And I think that this is a bad mindset because it's just you trying to hide from the reality of the world. There's probably a couple of other reasons why people get mad at like little jokes like that. Those are the two like main ones, and I think that's kind of where it comes from. But I do think it's really silly to look at a joke like that in Road to Germany and be like, they shouldn't say like that's like too serious for like this silly show because that's not a real argument. You need to either refute what like Brian is saying or make an argument for how Brian saying that harms the story of the episode. There is no argument for either of those things. So the line is fine where it stands. It's all kind of the same after that. I don't think I have much more to add. I think I made my point. Yeah, Alex Griffin is trash. Like, I think what we could learn from this is just how AI muddies these sorts of conversations. Like, think about what we should take from this video, because this video didn't get a lot of views. So like this video, Alex Griffin is probably going to be gone soon. All of these AI channels are all quitting. They're all not getting views. They're all not this. But I think the real problem that we should take from this is think about how much like political discourse, because of the existence of AI, is just AI. Like, think about like bots. Think about like the percentage of like Twitter accounts that are just like foreign bots, mostly made to promote right-wing, talking points. Like, so think about how that just poisons all discussion about this stuff, and how en masse, like, people were already stupid before AI. Most of the stuff that I talked about in this video is stuff that most unintelligent people will talk about, or arguments that unintelligent people will make, or just the no commentary, just pointing stuff out and making it seem like you're giving commentary that just makes people not introspect, not think deeper about things. Just think about how much worse AI will make that. And even though AI YouTube videos are going away, any old internet post, I don't think it's really going away anytime soon.